Set in the 1990s, the story begins with a young girl who has been kidnapped and locked inside a basement by a trafficking group. She is about to be sold to a wealthy man, but after finding a sharp rock nearby, she manages to cut the ropes binding her hands and feet. At the same time, one of the kidnappers, Ling Er, comes downstairs to bring her breakfast. But the girl suddenly attacks from behind and smashes Ling Er in the head, knocking her unconscious. Taking advantage of the moment, she desperately tries to escape. Unfortunately, her freedom does not last long. After killing the girl, Yan Shuang buries her body with the help of his wife, Ling Er. Since the girl is now dead and no longer useful, he is forced to cancel the deal with the wealthy buyer and personally travel to his village to apologize. When Yan Shuang arrives, the buyer is already preparing for his wedding with the kidnapped girl. After spending a huge amount of money to purchase her, the man refuses to accept the apology and demands his money back instead. But Yan Shuang has no intention of refunding him. The situation quickly turns violent as he takes on the buyer's men one by one. Without much effort, Yan Shuang beats them all down and tells the buyer to be patient because he will simply find another girl as a replacement. This was the sin trade. The story then shifts to a police detective named Fang. Together with his team, he travels to the same village to rescue a woman who was kidnapped about 3 years earlier. Once they arrive, Fang splits up the operation. He sends his two partners to locate the missing woman, while he personally goes to meet the man who bought her. At a gambling den, Fang finally comes face to face with a man named Liu, who turns out to be the legal husband of the kidnapped woman. It becomes clear that Yan Shuang's trafficking operation is not about harvesting organs at all. Instead, he kidnaps young women and forces them into marriages with wealthy clients willing to pay for them. Since Liu refuses to cooperate or go peacefully to the police station, Fang has no choice but to use force. A brutal fight quickly breaks out as Fang takes on Liu and his men. Meanwhile, Fang's partners successfully locate the kidnapped woman and prepare to bring her out of the village. But unfortunately, Yan Shuang is still nearby and immediately learns what is happening. Before the officers can leave, the villagers surround them after hearing rumors that Liu's wife is being taken away by strangers. Liu himself soon joins the crowd because, legally speaking, the woman is now considered his wife. Even so, Fang refuses to back down. He warns the villagers that anyone interfering with a police operation will be arrested, forcing Liu and the others to hesitate. But just as Fang and his team are about to escape, Yan Shuang secretly approaches Liu and humiliates him for allowing his wife to be taken away so easily. Those words completely change Liu's mindset. Fueled by anger and pride, Liu rallies the villagers and convinces them to fight back in order to reclaim the woman. Before long, a violent clash erupts between the police officers and the villagers. Things quickly spiral out of control. The villagers overturn the police vehicle, leaving Fang and his team trapped in the middle of the village. In that desperate moment, Fang suddenly remembers his older sister, who was kidnapped when he was a child and has never been found. That painful memory becomes the reason he refuses to give up. Deep down, he believes that saving this woman could be the first step toward finally finding his sister. With the situation getting worse, Fang is eventually forced to fire warning shots into the air to stop the crowd. But right after that, the rescued woman unexpectedly refuses to leave with him because she does not want to abandon her daughter behind. In the end, Fang returns empty-handed and is immediately scolded by his superior, and there is a very good reason for it. It turns out the police department never officially approved this operation in the first place. Fang acted entirely on his own, driven by his personal mission to track down his missing sister while trying to destroy the kidnapping network at the same time. Because of his reckless actions, Fang is suspended for several days and officially removed from the kidnapping investigation. Even after trying to explain his reasons, his superior refuses to change the decision. The department does not want its reputation damaged by an officer acting on personal motives. For now, the story shifts away from Fang and introduces a young man named Han. One day, Han visits a beauty salon after becoming interested in a beautiful employee named Yingbing. Wanting to experience her massage service, he awkwardly asks about the price, only to nearly back out after realizing how expensive it is. After learning that Han lives nearby, Yingbing casually offers to continue at his house instead and even gives him a discount. As they head toward his home, two suspicious men begin following them, seemingly with bad intentions toward Yingbing. But just as they enter a narrow alley, Han suddenly grabs her and restrains her himself. Despite his harmless and nerdy appearance, Han is secretly one of Yan Chuang's men, making him part of the kidnapping ring all along. And just like that, Yingbing realizes she has walked straight into a trap. Elsewhere, Chi Feng talks with one of his fellow officers about his suspension. During the conversation, he admits that he has no intention of giving up until he finds his missing sister, even though he has no idea whether she is still alive. Right in the middle of that conversation, Chi Feng receives a call from the village chief informing him that his younger sister has run away from home. Her name is Guji, and she has apparently been working as a waitress at a nightclub. Even worse, she is currently being harassed by one of the customers there. The nightclub owner, Mrs. Hong, quickly steps in after learning about the situation and confronts the customer for causing trouble inside her establishment. But instead of calming down, the man becomes even more disrespectful and humiliates her further. That is when Mrs. Hong's right-hand man, Bao Han, steps in and brutally beats the group of customers.
你真牛逼！
After dealing with the customers, Mrs. Hong calls Guji into a private room and questions her about why she refused the man earlier. Begging to go home, Guji explains that she does not want to become a plaything for dirty old men and decides to quit without asking for any payment. But because Mrs. Hong now has to cover the medical expenses caused by the earlier incident, she refuses to let Guji leave so easily. Instead, she plans to hand her over to a man named Jin, the investor who financially supports the nightclub. Apparently, Jin has given Mrs. Hong 3 days to train Guji to properly entertain male customers. If she fails, he threatens to shut the entire club down. The story then returns to Chi Feng, who is traveling toward a village where Guji was reportedly last seen. The first person he meets there is a bookstore owner, who reveals that Guji used to visit the shop quite often. Unfortunately, the owner has not seen her in a long time and suggests that Chi Feng check the local job board instead. According to him, that might provide clues about where she has been working. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the same village, Han and his partner Erkui are keeping Yingbing locked inside a room along with several other kidnapping victims. Unlike Han, who seems calm and still respects women to some extent, Erkui is violent, hot-tempered, and frequently harasses the victims. Things almost get even worse when Erkui begins acting inappropriately toward Yingbing. Thankfully, Ling arrives just in time and stops him before he can go further. After forcing Erkui out of the room, Ling tries to calm Yingbing down and advises her to cooperate. According to her, as long as the victims do not resist or attempt to escape, they will be treated well enough. During that moment, Ling also reveals a shocking truth about herself. She admits that she was once a kidnapping victim too, and has been separated from her family ever since she was a little girl. At the same time, Han and Erkui head to a small restaurant, where Han opens up about Guji. It turns out the two of them already knew each other before all of this. Han admits that he fell in love with her the very first time they met. In fact, he still keeps a book that Guji once gave him. After learning that Guji works at the nightclub, Han decides to go there with Erkui. Arriving around the same time, Chi Feng also reaches the club. Inside one of the rooms, Mrs. Hong is busy preparing Guji to serve men properly because Jin is expecting perfect service that very night. At the same time, Chi Feng arrives at the nightclub and suddenly hears Guji screaming somewhere inside the building. As he rushes toward the sound, 2 guards stop him, and chaos immediately breaks out. Before long, Chi Feng finds himself fighting dozens of Mrs. Hong's men completely on his own. While everyone is distracted by the fight, Han quickly sneaks into the room where Guji is being held and helps her escape from the club. Meanwhile, Chi Feng continues battling through the nightclub until he eventually comes face to face with Bao Han, the strongest fighter working for Mrs. Hong. Even though Bao Han puts up a serious fight, Chi Feng still manages to defeat him without too much trouble. Unfortunately, by the time the fight is over, Guji has already been taken away. Not long after that, the local police finally arrive to secure the situation, led by a captain named Zhao. Coincidentally, Zhao already knows Chi Feng personally, which makes it much easier for Chi Feng to explain what really happened inside the club. Curious about why Chi Feng came all the way to this city, Zhao listens as Chi Feng explains that his younger sister ran away from home and was just abducted by 2 unknown men. Wanting to help his friend, Zhao agrees to assist with the search while also helping track down the kidnapping group responsible. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hong gets scolded by Jin and is given only 2 days to bring Guji back to him. As for Guji, she eventually wakes up and immediately decides to leave. But just as she is about to escape, Ling discovers her and refuses to let her go. The next morning arrives, and instead of sitting around waiting for updates from Zhao, Feng borrows a bicycle parked outside the police station and begins searching the city himself, hoping to find his sister as quickly as possible. At the same time, Ling Er and the rest of the kidnappers start panicking because news about the kidnapping cases has spread all over television and local media. Then suddenly someone knocks on the door. Acting quickly, Ling Er tells Han and Erkui to hide inside the room where the victims are being kept while she checks who has arrived. It turns out to be the homeowner's mother, who simply came by to collect something she accidentally left behind. Unfortunately, the item she is looking for is inside the same room where the victims are hidden. To protect the operation, Ling Er is forced to knock the woman unconscious. After dealing with that situation, Ling Er becomes furious when she sees Erkui treating Yingbing violently once again. When Guji reveals that Yingbing has been suffering from a high fever since the previous night, Ling Er briefly considers going out to buy medicine. But after hearing another suggestion, she decides to stay and treat the fever with cold compresses instead. Later, Han and Erkui leave the house to buy food from a nearby restaurant. But while waiting for their order, they are suddenly confronted by Bao Han, who arrives with a large group of men. Another brutal fight immediately breaks out after Han refuses to reveal Guiji's location. Just when Han and Erkui are cornered, Feng unexpectedly arrives to help. He has been searching for Han because he believes the man knows where Guji is being hidden. That leads to another fight between Feng and Bao Han. And once again, Bao Han proves no match for him. But during the chaos, Erkui creates an opening that allows Han to escape. At the same moment, Bao Han attacks Feng from behind and knocks him unconscious. After hearing police sirens approaching the area, Bao Han quickly decides to take Erkui back to Mrs. Hong and the others before the police arrive. Meanwhile, back at the hideout, Guji and the other kidnapped women finally decide they cannot stay silent any longer. Together, they fight back against Ling Er in hopes of escaping. After successfully knocking Ling Er unconscious, the women rush out of the room screaming for help, praying that somebody nearby will hear them. But the area is completely deserted. Seeing no one around, Yingbing climbs over the wall first so she can help the others escape afterward. Unfortunately, the moment she notices a car approaching, panic takes over and she runs away alone without realizing the driver is actually Yan Chuang. In the end, the escape attempt completely fails. Guiji and the other victims are dragged back into the room, helpless to resist. And right in front of Guiji's eyes, Yan Chuang brutally kills Yingbing for being the one who started the escape attempt in the first place. Not long after that, Han finally returns to the house and immediately tells Yan Chuang that Erkui has been captured. Han then confesses the truth about Guji. He explains that she works at the nightclub and that he only brought her here because he wanted to save her from Mrs. Hong, who planned to use her to entertain wealthy men. Without wasting any time, Yan Chuang heads straight to the nightclub to demand Erkui's release. At first, he tries to settle things peacefully by lowering himself and showing respect. But when that still is not enough, Yan Chuang decides to handle things his own way. What follows is an absolutely brutal rampage as he beats down Mrs. Hong's men, one after another. Eventually, Yan Chuang comes face to face with Bao Han himself. Unlike the others, Bao Han actually gives him a difficult fight. But after seeing even Bao Han get defeated, Mrs. Hong realizes she has no choice left and finally allows Erkui to leave with Yan Chuang. Elsewhere, Feng finally regains consciousness after Zhao wakes him up. And just before leaving, Feng notices that Han accidentally dropped his pager, giving him a possible clue to track the kidnappers down. At the same time, Han and Ling Er prepare to leave the city while waiting for Yan Chuang and Erkui to arrive. But in the middle of all that, Ling Er suddenly changes sides. Wanting to save Guji, she secretly sends a message through Han's pager, telling Feng where to find his sister. Just as Han is about to take Guji away, disaster strikes. Yan Chuang arrives much sooner than expected and immediately runs Han over with his vehicle, killing him on the spot. Realizing the police will soon arrive, Yan Chuang orders Ling Er and Erkui to leave first while taking the kidnapped women with them. Meanwhile, he decides to stay behind and distract the authorities himself. Back at the nightclub, Feng learns that Guji is no longer there. But after hearing reports about a suspicious cargo truck, he quickly shifts his attention and begins chasing it down. During the pursuit, Feng eventually realizes the truck is completely empty. Understanding that he has been tricked, he immediately contacts Zhao and tells him to search for another vehicle that might actually be transporting the victims. The chase soon turns violent as both vehicles slam into each other across the road. Eventually, Feng crashes into a roadside restaurant, while Yan Chuang's vehicle flips over directly in front of the building, And somehow, even in the middle of that chaos, Yan Chuang still casually sits down to enjoy the fresh food that had just been served moments earlier. Not long after that, the final fight between Chi Feng and Yan Chuang finally begins. For the first time in the entire story, Chi Feng encounters an opponent strong enough to truly challenge him, and in Yan Chuang's eyes, Chi Feng is clearly just as dangerous. Even so, Chi Feng still manages to gain the upper hand. After an intense battle, he defeats Yan Chuang so brutally that he nearly kills him. But before things go any further, Chi Feng finally receives good news about Guji's safety. Relieved to hear that his younger sister survived, he hands Yan Chuang over to the police instead of finishing him off himself. At last, Chi Feng can finally feel proud and at peace. Not only did he save Guji, but he also succeeded in destroying the kidnapping operation that had ruined so many lives. Then a few days later, after Chi Feng is officially allowed to return to duty, he receives another piece of life-changing news. During Chi Feng's suspension, his superiors secretly continued investigating the disappearance of Chi Feng's older sister. And after all these years, the police finally confirmed that she is still alive. So the moral of the story is never trust a shy guy with a discount massage offer because he might secretly be part of a kidnapping DLC pack.